Hi guys, I hope you have already watched our video on Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. So now let's solve some question. So our first question for this, you can pause the video and you can just read out the question. So in this, I'll just briefly say that there is a population of cats that can be either black or white. So black is the dominant allele which has been represented by capital B, and white allele is represented by small b. So a population has got 1000 cats, 840 black and 160 white. So we need to determine here the allele frequency, the frequency of individuals per genotype, and the number of individuals per genotype. So in order to solve this, solve all the preceding variables like p, q, p square, 2pq and q square. Now let's find out the frequency of white cats. So here if we see the values, the homozygous recessive genotype is going to be small b. However, the black cats can either have the genotype of capital B small b or genotype of capital B. So therefore the frequency cannot be directly determined. So here we are going to consider white cats. Why we are considering the recessive genotype? Because it has got both the alleles same. Okay, so here we are going to add a formula as frequency of individuals equals to individuals by total population. So when we see that our individual population for recessive allele is 160 by the total allele is 1000. So it becomes 0.16. And this shows the frequency of white cats, which is equal to 0.16. And therefore, if we take q square and we root it, the square root of q square is q equals to 0.4. Now, to solve the next one, we need to use Hardy-Weinberg equation, which is p plus q equals to 1 to solve p. So here when we put the formula, we get p equals to 1 minus 0.4, which is equal to 0.6. So here we get p the p square, since the p is equals to 0.6, so the p square equals to 0.36. And 2pq will be equals to 2 into 0.6 into 0.4. So therefore 2pq would be 0.48. Now therefore here if we see all whatever we have solved earlier, the frequency of the dominant alleles, which is p, is equal to 0.6. The frequency of the recessive allele q equals to 0.4. The frequency of the individuals with the dominant genotype, which is p square, is equal to 0.36, and the frequency of individuals with the heterozygous genotype 2pq is equal to 0.48, and the frequency of individuals with the recessive genotype q square is equal to 0.16. So I hope you could understand this particular problem. Now in this, if you see, you can actually add up all the values of p square with any of the formulas, be it p plus q equals to 1 or p square plus 2pq plus q square equals to 1, and you'll find it as 1. Now, in order to understand the total population to get the number of individuals with that given genotypes, we need to multiply it with 1000. So, p square into total population is equal to 0.36 into 1000, which will be 360 black cats having capital B genotype. 2pq into total population would be 480 black cats with heterozygous genotype. And for the recessive genotype, it would be 160 white cats. So this is our next question. Again, you can pause the video and read the question. So here if we see there are two alleles in a gene pool with 0.19, which is representing a capital A, and 0.81 representing a small a, and if we see here, we need to calculate firstly the percentage of heterozygous individual in the population, and also the percentage of homozygous individual in the population. So as we all know, according to Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium, so according to Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium, heterozygous individual is actually represented by 2pq. So if we put the values here, 2 into 0.19 into 0.18, so we get 0.31, or we can say 31% of the heterozygous individual. So the first one is done. Now the next one, it says that the percentage of homozygous recessive in the population. So you can actually pause the video and try to solve it of your own. So if we see here, the homozygous recessive genotype will be represented as small a, or we can say q square. So if we calculate q square, our q is 0.18. So we get it as 0.66 or 66%. So in this question, the homozygous dominant genotype is represented as capital E, capital T, heterozygous dominant genotype as capital T, small t, and homozygous recessive genotype as small t, small t. So when we solve the question, here the homozygous recessive individual is going to be 64 by 400, which is equal to 0.16. So we can actually, using directly the formula that we have already used in our first question, you can just go and check it out again. And then q square is going to be 0.16, with q equals to 0.4, and p we already got as 0.6. So for the heterozygous genotype, putting the formula as 2pq, which will be equals to 2 into 0.6 into 0.4, which is equal to 0.48 or 48%. So here if we see, 48% of the population are heterozygous, the tasters. I hope you understood the video. You can actually pause and solve it again, the questions that we have just solved. In case you are not able to understand or you have any doubt, you can contact us on the other social media platform. So thanks for watching.